You know what's weird? We obsess over boomers and millennials. We analyze Gen Z like there's some exotic new discovery. But there's this whole generation stuck in the middle, rarely talked about, almost forgotten. Generation X, born roughly between 1965 and 1980. They're the quiet older coworkers who just get stuff done without drama. The parents who sometimes seem a little distant. The ones who literally helped build the internet but would never dream of posting their avocado toast. And the truth is, their psychology is probably the most misunderstood of any living generation. Gen X were the original latchkey kids on a massive scale. Imagine it's 1978. You're 8. You walk home from school to an empty house, both parents at work. No cell phones, no security cams, no quick texts to check in. You let yourself in, fix a snack, do homework alone, and wait. Estimates from the era suggest millions of kids aged 5 to 13 were regularly unsupervised after school. That empty house didn't just teach self-reliance. It wired in the hard truth that you can't always count on someone showing up. Actions had real, immediate consequences. No safety nets, no endless discussions about feelings. Mess up, and the fallout hit fast and direct. Psychologists describe this as a high-contingency environment. Your brain learned to anticipate outcomes in real time. That's why Gen X often thinks 3 steps ahead. It baffles younger people who grew up with more buffers. They watched their parents preach stability, then saw divorce rates skyrocket through the 70s and 80s. They saw lifelong company loyalty rewarded with pink slips during layoffs. The promise was always work hard, follow the rules, succeed. Then the rules got rewritten mid-game. What looks like cynicism to others is just defensive realism to them. They hope for the best, but brace for the rug pull. That's part of why they're ghosts on social media. Privacy wasn't a choice, it was default. Screw up as a kid? Maybe a few people knew and it stayed local. No viral shaming. Broadcasting your life to strangers? That feels dangerous, not empowering. Less visibility meant more safety. They mastered irony as armor. Dry humor, sarcasm, keeping things light, it's a defense mechanism honed during the Cold War era. Duck and cover drills treated nuclear annihilation like a minor inconvenience. Adults said, "Don't worry," while acting like the world could end tomorrow. Gen X learned to hold contradictory truths and maintain emotional distance. Yet despite it all, they developed one of the most solid work ethics around. They don't brag about it, they just deliver. Early jobs, paper routes at dawn, bagging groceries, fast food registers where you calculated change mentally, introduced them to real responsibility young. No fluff resumes, just raw accountability. They saw their parents' generation gutted by corporate downsizing, so they never bought into blind company loyalty. Here's the paradox. Gen X is fiercely independent, figuring it out solo since age 8, but quietly collaborative. They'll never ask for help. That feels like weakness. But if you need it, they'll show up. No fanfare, no Instagram story. Those tight friend bonds formed out of necessity when parents weren't around. Their take on authority? Complicated. They respect proven competence, not titles. Earn it through skill and they'll back you fully. Fake it with buzzwords? Zero patience. They grew up questioning authority after Watergate, Iran-Contra, the mishandled AIDS crisis, repeated economic gut punches from the dot-com bust for the youngest to 2008 for the oldest. They've been burned enough to build multiple income streams, not out of startup dreams, but survival instinct. Nothing lasts forever. Research shows Gen X often avoids seeking social support in stress, not from lack of people, but because depending on others feels like defeat. They process information differently too. Pre-internet, knowledge required real effort, library hunts, card catalogs, physical books. That deeper engagement made learning stick. They fixed things themselves, bike chains, flickering TVs, because calling someone wasn't the default. It built mechanical intuition and patience. Now they're raising kids in the opposite world. Helicopter parenting, constant supervision, everything documented online. They give their children the presence they lacked, but sometimes worry they've created dependency or overvisibility. In the Gen X mind, being seen too much means being vulnerable. Ultimately, Generation X may be the last to truly know solitude with your thoughts, real boredom, solving problems without a search bar. They're not superior, just uniquely shaped by a transitional era, the old world crumbling, the new one not fully formed yet. They're the bridge generation. Bridges don't get spotlighted. They just hold everything together, quietly, expecting nothing in return. And honestly, that's peak Gen X, not caring if anyone notices. If this resonates, hit subscribe. Want to support more deep dives like this? Consider joining as a channel member. I'd really appreciate it.